My name is Philippe Buhannic, and as you will hear, I cannot hide it, I'm French. So, but I'm a pretty original French person because I've lived 85% of my life outside of France. I've lived outside, I've lived in many, many countries. I started to work when I was very young, at 23. I had already a position, and I have been working for 40 years. So I have a very long experience based, and I think it's relevant to what we are going to talk about. I've worked everywhere in the world, and among all the places, Asia a lot, Japan, Hong Kong, Australia, Europe, everywhere, South America. I created the first foreign broker in Brazil, and obviously the US. I worked a lot there. I have I've been educated in 2 time zones, Europe and the US, and I have degrees in a number of different areas. I have degrees in political science, in law, in business, in actuary, in accounting, and a few other ones. So I have quite a varied experience in terms of what you can study. I have also, and I think that's quite rare, I have created 7 businesses from scratch, every time without any resource, because I was always in a situation where there was no money. So I really had to invent a new model. And I always started in my ventures as last in class, always. And I always finished first in class. And I always finished as the most profitable business in that business, always, 7 times. So I think it's a pretty relevant experience for other entrepreneurs. I did it sometimes within a big organization as an entrepreneur, and I did it also as an entrepreneur out of nothing, with no structure. The reason why I managed to do that is because every time I created a fundamental break in the market, and sometimes multiple breaks, to be fair, and these breaks change usually businesses which were kind of cartel-like. What I mean is that you had 3, 4, or 5 firms controlling the show, and because they control the show, they didn't want the thing to change. So if you come with a better product, the clients listen, and you are able to go through despite the fact you are small and you don't have a lot of resources. So I've done that 7 times, really. And these breaks are always created based on 3 components: new organizational structures, which were atypical, compared to what existed. Bright young people. I always recruited out of school, and I always trained the young people. That's the way I build most of my good employees. And I couldn't hire anybody very expensive because I had no money. So I had no choice. So I put a lot of training programs in place, and I have young people who work for me in almost every place, everywhere in the world. And the third thing, I understood quite quickly that systems could give you a chance to bring a break and to give also a better service to clients. And so that's what I have done. I have leveraged this new organization, this new type of employees, and this new approach to systems in order to create application or trading systems or different things that were so critical that honestly they sold themselves. I didn't even need to have salespeople because the clients needed them, and because the rich firms were not aggressive in changing the market, I could bypass them and become bigger than they were. That's fundamentally what I have done a lot of time. Through this, I have acquired, I think, a fairly unique set of experience, both in finance and in systems. I have built amazing system. I built the first automated back office system in Brazil, in Brazilian. And I took only one class in Portuguese over an hour and a half before doing it. So I built the first trading systems in derivatives, futures and options. I built some of the first really professional information system for clearing systems. So I built a number of firsts. And once again, that was not easy because I didn't have a lot of resources. But it was very interesting. And I discovered through this experience that the one thing I really loved more than anything was to create new systems that clients like. Because if you do that, you have the impression to be extremely useful, and you bring an incredible reward to the market because you reduce the cost for investors dramatically. And that's very good for the market overall, because if you reduce the cost, people will trade more, it will be more active, it's better for everyone. Last but not least, I think I'm known in the market by every regulator on the planet, and also almost every large institutional client on the planet. And they all recognize very highly, and for me that's critical, my integrity. I have never cheated a client, never lied to a client, even less to a regulator. And I think they respect me enormously. So when I go to see a large client, some of them have traded on my systems for 35 years now. And or when I go to see a regulator, they know that if I say something, I will do it. And so they believe in me. And this has proved to me in my third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh businesses a huge asset, because I could go with no resources to see big clients, and they were willing to take the risk on me because they had already worked with me. They knew that I always delivered what I said, and this has been a very good. So I think in order to judge the innovation financing in the US, I meet a lot of the criteria, both as a creator, as a manager, as a business builder, because I built businesses which were extremely profitable, in fact the most profitable in every business I ever went to. And not many people have touched so many different places in finance across all assets, everywhere in the world, and from back to front. And I have done that. It's quite rare, because in finance people are usually very specialized. So they do only bonds all their life, or they do only clearing all their life, or only back office all their life. In my case, I've done everything. There is not an instrument I have not traded. It's not a system I have not built. So, and I think that gives me a good shot at judging what's happening right now in terms of innovation, and to be able to have my opinion on some of the what I consider is a crisis in the financing of innovation in the US.